The Chiefs managed to edge out a narrow victory over the Raiders in a classic nail-biter, but it wasn't without drama. Patrick Mahomes was visibly frustrated throughout the game as he faced immense pressure, 30 times to be exact, and was sacked 5 times. This marked the second consecutive game he's been brought down that many times. If things don't improve, Mahomes is on track to be sacked 50 times by the season's end, a troubling statistic. Let's dive into what went down, the concerns, and key takeaways from this tense matchup. The game started with the Raiders winning the toss and deferring. On the Chiefs' first play, Kareem Hunt's run resulted in a 1-yard loss, a sign of things to come. Kansas City's run game struggled throughout, which was unusual for them this season. On the other hand, their typically strong run defense surprisingly allowed significant gains on the ground. Offensively, the Chiefs relied on key players to move the chains. Travis Kelce came up big on a 3rd and 8 play, where Mahomes extended the play despite taking a hit. Isaiah Pacheco's return from injury brought excitement to the crowd as he carried the ball for the first time since Week 2. Shortly after, Mahomes nearly connected with DeAndre Hopkins on a deep throw. Though Hopkins couldn't make a spectacular one-handed catch, a defensive pass interference call moved Kansas City into the red zone. However, the Raiders' Jack Jones made an impressive play, preventing Hopkins from scoring on 3rd and 4, forcing the Chiefs to settle for a field goal. On the Raiders' next drive, they faced a 3rd and 16 and couldn't convert, giving the ball back to the Chiefs. Controversy struck on the ensuing punt when officials flagged the wrong player, leading to confusion after a commercial break. The Chiefs' drive stalled due to penalties and missed opportunities, and they had to punt as well. Vegas capitalized on a busted coverage in the Chiefs' secondary, with Aiden O'Connell connecting on a 43-yard pass to Jakobi Meyers. It appeared that Nazeeh Johnson expected safety help, but none came, and the Raiders made the Chiefs pay. After this mistake, Johnson was benched in favor of Keith Taylor, who finished the series before Joshua Williams took over for the remainder of the game. Despite the struggles, the Chiefs' defense held the Raiders to a field goal after a clutch sack on 3rd and goal by Kansas City's CEO of Sack Nation. The offensive line's woes continued as Mahomes was sacked again on a 3rd and 10 play when Wanya Morris missed a block. Without time for the play to develop, Mahomes had no chance to escape the pressure. The Chiefs went 3 and out, leaving their defense to pick up the slack. Meanwhile, Vegas kept finding ways to move the ball, but Nick Bolton nearly intercepted a critical 3rd and 4 pass. Ultimately, the Raiders missed a 56-yard field goal, keeping the score close. While the Chiefs managed to come out on top, the game highlighted significant issues. From the offensive line struggles to secondary lapses, Kansas City has plenty to address moving forward. The good news? They've shown resilience in these tough games. The bad news? They can't afford to keep testing their limits if they want a deep playoff run. The second quarter provided plenty of excitement, starting with the Raiders coming up just short on a field goal attempt, giving the Chiefs the ball back. Noah Gray immediately delivered a 26-yard catch and run, setting up a thrilling sequence. On a 3rd and 10, Patrick Mahomes connected with Travis Kelce, who executed one of his signature no-look laterals to Samaj Perine for a first down. It's hard to tell if plays like these are planned or just Kelce being Kelce, but they keep the crowd on their toes. Shortly after, Mahomes hit Justin Watson on a crossing route for the first and only touchdown of the half. Unfortunately, Mahomes took a big hit on the play due to a missed block by Wanya Morris, a recurring issue throughout the game. The Raiders then responded with back-to-back runs for over 10 yards, but stalled on a 3rd and 9, where Chris Jones dominated the rookie right tackle, DJ Glaze, with a decisive sack. With a minute remaining in the half, the Chiefs had one timeout and a chance to extend their lead. However, Mahomes was sacked on first down after the offensive line collapsed under unexpected pressure. He bounced back with a 34-yard throw to DeAndre Hopkins, who faked an out route before burning his defender down the sideline. This set up a 59-yard field goal attempt by Matthew Wright after another quick 9-yard catch by Noah Gray. Unfortunately, the kick fell just short. While Wright has made a 59-yarder before, it wasn't his day. One of the game's highlights came from punter Matt Araiza, who made a hard-hitting tackle during a punt return. Araiza, a former cornerback, continues to impress with his physicality. After the play, Drew Tranquill jokingly asked if Araiza might be an undercover linebacker. It's rare to see such versatility in a punter, but Araiza seems to thrive on breaking norms. The second half kicked off with the Raiders trailing 10-3. They started strong, with DJ Turner breaking loose for a 25-yard gain, slipping past multiple defenders. On a 3rd and 5, Joshua Williams delivered a crucial pass breakup, forcing a 4th and 1. The Chiefs' defense stood tall, with Nick Bolton and Charles Omenihu combining to stuff the Raiders and force a turnover on downs. The Chiefs' offense capitalized on the defensive stand. Noah Gray made another big play with a 22-yard reception, followed by Isaiah Pacheco's explosive 34-yard run, the team's longest of the season. Pacheco's return brought much-needed speed and power to the offense, energizing the team and the fans. Kansas City marched down to the 13-yard line, but suffered a rare misstep as Mahomes fumbled while scrambling, resulting in a 20-yard loss. The mishap forced another field goal attempt, which Wright converted to extend the Chiefs' lead to 13-3. The Raiders tried to respond but missed another field goal on their next drive. A series of failed plays, including back-to-back losses and an incomplete 3rd and 10, seemed to seal their fate. However, a penalty on Chris Jones for being offside gave Vegas another chance. This time, Brock Bowers made a jaw-dropping one-handed catch to keep the Raiders' hopes alive. The Raiders' Brock Bowers made an incredible catch along the right sideline, beating Trent McDuffie in coverage. Sometimes, you just have to respect greatness, and Bowers has been nothing short of that during his rookie season. This play put the Raiders well within field goal range, but on a critical 3 RD and 7, George Karlaftis came through with a massive sack on O'Connell, driving them back 15 yards. That forced Vegas to attempt a 55-yard field goal, which Daniel Carlson missed, his second miss of the day. The Chiefs' offense struggled to capitalize. Gray and Kelsey dropped back-to-back passes, but on 3 RD and 10, DeAndre Hopkins came through with an incredible 31-yard grab up the left sideline. Xavier Worthy followed it up with a clutch low catch to set up a manageable 3 RD and 3. However, heavy pressure from the Raiders forced Mahomes to throw the ball away, leading to yet another field goal by Matthew Wright, his third of the day, putting the Chiefs ahead 16-3. Just when it seemed Kansas City was in control, the game flipped dramatically. Abdullah's 68-yard kickoff return, with multiple Chiefs missing tackles, gave Vegas excellent field position. After a holding penalty set them back, Brock Bowers shrugged it off, hauling in a 33-yard touchdown to make it 16-10. Chiefs rookie Jamari Connor got burned in coverage, but honestly, Bowers' talent would have overwhelmed most defenders. On the next Chiefs drive, Mahomes made a miraculous play on 3 RD and 11, avoiding a sack and delivering a perfect pass to DeAndre Hopkins. Unfortunately, Hopkins uncharacteristically dropped it, forcing a punt. Vegas made Kansas City pay immediately. A quick 11-yard run by Sincere McCormick was followed by a 58-yard bomb to Trey Tucker for the touchdown, giving the Raiders a 17-16 lead. Justin Reed was left one-on-one with the speedy Tucker, who blazed past him, highlighting a mismatch the Raiders smartly exploited. With the fourth quarter underway, the Chiefs found themselves trailing by 1 and desperate for points. Travis Kelce converted a crucial 3 RD and 1, and Mahomes drew a pass interference penalty on a deep throw to Hopkins, gaining 26 yards. However, offensive penalties, including a false start and an illegal formation by Juwan Taylor, kept holding them back. Despite these setbacks, Hopkins made another big play with a 15-yard catch, and Worthy moved the chains on a 3 RD&5 with a short crosser. The Chiefs made it to the Raiders' 5-yard line, but faltered. On 2 end and goal, Mahomes' pass to Hopkins was just a touch too high for a one-handed grab. On 3 RD and goal, both Wanya Morris and Juwan Taylor were beaten badly, and Mahomes was immediately sacked. His frustration was evident, and it's no surprise. This marked the second straight game he's been sacked 5 times. Mahomes has now been sacked 32 times this season, already surpassing his career high in a full season, and if this trend continues, he's on pace for 49 sacks over 17 games. Fed up with the offensive line struggles, the Chiefs made adjustments. Joe Thuney shifted to left tackle, while Mike Caliendo stepped in at left guard. Even after the sack, Wright managed to kick his 4th field goal of the day, putting Kansas City back in front, 19-17. Thankfully, the defense stepped up when it mattered. The Raiders' next drive went nowhere as the Chiefs forced a punt, stopping the momentum after back-to-back touchdowns. The pressure on 2nd down forced Mahomes to throw the ball away as Joe Thuney, playing out of position at left tackle, was driven back into him. It's a tough ask for Thuney, a natural left guard, to perform as a tackle. On 3 RD&8, a short checkdown pass to Samaj Perine didn't gain enough yardage, leading to a punt. The Raiders took over with 5 minutes left, all 3 timeouts, and a chance to mount a comeback. Vegas managed to move the chains a couple of times, advancing past midfield. However, back-to-back plays by the Chiefs' defense, batting down passes by George Karlaftis and Justin Reed, forced a long 58-yard field goal attempt. Carlson's kick missed, marking his 3rd miss of the night and giving the ball back to Mahomes and the Chiefs' offense with just over 2 minutes remaining. The Chiefs had a chance to ice the game with a couple of first downs, but after 2 runs set up a manageable 3 RD&2, they chose to go aggressive with a play-action deep shot to Xavier Worthy. On paper, it was a solid call as it created a favorable matchup for Worthy, who won his route. However, Travis Kelce missed a crucial block, leaving Mahomes under heavy pressure. He was hit as he threw, and the pass came up short, resulting in an incompletion. This not only failed to convert, but also stopped the clock, giving the Raiders the ball back with 2 minutes left and no timeouts, starting from their own 8-yard line. Aidan O'Connell stepped up with an impressive 2-minute drill. A 25-yard pass to Brock Bowers got them past midfield, followed by 2 more completions for 18 additional yards. With 15 seconds left, O'Connell spiked the ball at the Chiefs' 32-yard line, putting Vegas in range for a game-winning field goal attempt. At this point, it felt like the Chiefs' luck might have run out. The Raiders planned to run the clock down on 3rd down with a quick snap, burn a few seconds, and throw the ball out of bounds. But in a chaotic sequence, O'Connell clapped for the snap signal while still looking toward his receiver. On a silent count, this clap signaled the right guard to motion for the snap, but O'Connell wasn't ready. The ball ricocheted off his chest, resulting in a fumble that pinballed around before Nick Bolton recovered it. The Chiefs' offense returned to the field for a single kneel down to secure a wild and dramatic victory. While some fans and social media users questioned the play, the officials made the correct call. The clock was stopped after the spike, so when the Raiders committed an illegal shift, it became a live ball foul. The whistles didn't blow until after the fumble recovery was complete, and the play stood as called. The Raiders' failure to execute under pressure summed up their season. They fell to 2-10 with their 8th straight loss. The positives for the Chiefs. It was an ugly win, no doubt, but Sometimes good teams find a way to pull it out. The Chiefs extended their NFL record win streak to 14 games against the Raiders and secured their 10th consecutive playoff berth, clinching it earlier than ever thanks to a Dolphins loss. They remain the AFC's top seed and continue to show resilience. DeAndre Hopkins had another standout game, catching 4 passes for 90 yards and drawing 2 defensive pass interference calls. Travis Kelce, despite being out of sync with Mahomes on several plays, still caught 7 passes for 68 yards. Xavier Worthy notched his 3rd consecutive game with at least 4 catches and 40 yards, while Justin Watson scored on his only reception of the game. Biggest concerns: the run game struggled mightily. Kareem Hunt averaged just 2.1 yards per carry, and Isaiah Pacheco managed only 10 yards on 6 attempts. Additionally, Mahomes took too many hits once again, an ongoing issue for the offensive line. The Chiefs' struggles in the run game continued as they essentially abandoned it after their 7th attempt, which went for just 34 yards. It was puzzling to see, especially since they were leading for much of the game. There were no jet sweeps, no outside runs, and a noticeable lack of quick passes like screens or bubble screens to mix things up. The Raiders came in with a solid game plan, and the Chiefs' response was to lean heavily on Mahomes, asking him to throw constantly. This strategy contributed to the mounting pressure on Mahomes, exposing a glaring issue: poor tackle play. This has become a legitimate concern. Nate Taylor of The Athletic noted on his podcast, Only Weird Games, that Wanya Morris has been playing through a knee injury, which has clearly affected his performance. Morris was even benched during this game, forcing Joe Thuney to step in at left tackle, a position he doesn't normally play. The situation is dire because Kingsley Suamataia, the Chiefs' 2nd-round pick, was active and dressed for the game, but was skipped over in favor of Thuney. This highlights a lack of reliable tackle depth, leaving Mahomes exposed. The impact on Mahomes is evident. His timing, deep passes, and overall rhythm are being disrupted. Worse still, Mahomes is on pace to be sacked 50 times this season, a staggering increase compared to the 28 sacks he suffered in his worst season previously. He's already at 32 sacks this year, and it's only week 13. Protecting Mahomes should be the team's top priority. If the protection issues continue, the Chiefs' chances of competing at a high level will diminish rapidly. The solution may come in the form of DJ Humphries, who should start, or at least be ready to step in immediately if things start to unravel. Humphries doesn't need to be elite. He just needs to be consistent. Morris gave up 8 pressures in this game, while Jawan Taylor allowed 4 pressures and was flagged twice. Mahomes can sometimes work around right tackle struggles, but blindside issues are much harder to navigate. The Raiders took advantage of these issues, recording a season high in pressures and sacks. Despite this, Mahomes still managed to throw for over 300 yards without an interception. However, the offense's 3rd down efficiency, 43%, and red zone struggles, 1 for 5, remain glaring weaknesses. This lack of execution cost the Chiefs valuable points, not just in this game, but also the week prior against the Panthers when they went 2 for 5 in the red zone. Turning those trips into touchdowns could have made these games far more comfortable. The Chiefs scored on only 5 of their 12 drives against the Raiders, with just 1 touchdown. While it was enough for the win, this level of inefficiency won't hold up against stronger opponents. Better execution, fewer penalties, and improved pass protection, potentially with Humphries' help, could be the key to turning these red zone trips into touchdowns. Defensive concerns. The defense also raised significant concerns, particularly in the secondary. Aiden O'Connell threw for a career-high 340 yards, marking his first 300-yard game. This comes after the defense made Bryce Young look similarly effective the week before. Allowing quarterbacks with limited experience to look elite is a troubling trend. There were bright spots. Joshua Williams gave up 0 receptions on 2 targets over 32 coverage snaps and posted the second highest coverage grade on the team. Drew Tranquill also bounced back with a solid performance, earning the top coverage grade. However, outside of these two, the secondary struggled. Chamari Connor allowed 6 catches on 7 targets for nearly 100 yards. Trent McDuffie had a tough day, giving up 4 receptions on 4 targets for 68 yards. Justin Reed and Nazeed Johnson both surrendered big plays of over 40 yards. The Raiders' Brock Bowers dominated with 10 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown, while Jakobi Meyers added 6 receptions for 97 yards. Together, these 2 pass catchers accounted for nearly 250 yards. This level of production from opposing offenses is unsustainable if the Chiefs hope to remain competitive. The Chiefs' defensive performance had its ups and downs. On the bright side, the pass rush made its presence felt. Chris Jones recorded 2 sacks, while George Karlaftis added 1 sack and batted down a pass. Charles Omenihu, though not lighting up the stat sheet in his return, showed promise with several solid reps. Even Chris Jones admitted Omenihu seemed rusty, but the potential for improvement is clear. Nick Bolton was a standout in the run game, consistently wrecking plays and even breaking up a pass. Justin Reed also contributed with a couple of pass breakups. However, the defense struggled against the run, allowing an average of 4.6 yards per carry. Zamir White tallied 12 carries for 64 yards, 5.3 average. And Amir Abdullah added 10 carries for 39 yards, 3.9 average. These numbers were surprising given the defense's usual ability to contain the ground game. A positive takeaway is that the Chiefs held the Raiders to just 3 for 12 on 3rd downs and limited them to 17 points, typically enough for a more comfortable win. Still, the team needs to tighten up on both sides of the ball. Looking ahead, the Chiefs face a critical matchup against the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. It's clear they'll need a far better all-around performance. Special teams must avoid giving up big returns. The offensive line needs to protect Mahomes better, and the defense must limit explosive plays. Justin Herbert is a significantly tougher challenge than Bryce Young or Aiden O'Connell, and the Chargers are a better coached team. While J.K. Dobbins being placed on IR gives the Chiefs one less weapon to worry about, they can't afford to take this game lightly. Sleepwalking through it and hoping for another down-to-the-wire victory simply won't cut it. The good news is the Chiefs have a few extra rest days before the matchup, which they'll desperately need to regroup and make adjustments. What do you think about this game and the concerns I've raised? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, let's go Chiefs. How about those Chiefs?